All right. All right, I'll just say it out of the gate. 2020 was a shit year for movies. I think this is easily the worst year so far, I would say. Um, there's really not that much good stuff on here. Like, honestly, I could just skip this year. But I'm just doing it because, why not? It's easy. I couldn't decide if I wanted to either sit down or stand up. So I'm sitting down because I got a nicer background, but also, like, the sun's all coming in from this way, so this half of my face is in shadow. But sitting down is comfier. So I got my tea, and I got my little sweet treat. So let's just get started. Before we get into the top 10, I have some movies that I didn't watch, and some honourable mentions, and the worst movie of the year. So just a couple of stuff before we get into the actual top 10 that I just wanted to go over. This is more just like a year in review, like these videos that I do. I just like everything that went on in the terms of film in whatever year, this year 2020. Let's just talk about the ones that I didn't get to watch. I think all of these I didn't get to watch because they were like released at film festivals, but they haven't got a wide release yet, and I haven't been able to find them anywhere, so I assume they haven't got a wide release. So my first movie that I didn't watch was The Trouble with Being Born. This was like a controversial, like edgy film about a guy who has, I could be wrong about this, but what I've heard is that it's about a guy who has like sexual relations with an android robot who's a likeness of his daughter. I think that's what it's about. So yeah, it's pretty wild. It did get a rating in Australia. It got R18, so I don't think it's going to be that bad. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious to see if it's actually any good or not, or if it's just like edgy for edgy's sake. Like obviously there's like controversy around it, and it seems like that's a common thing with film festival films. So I don't know, maybe I should make a whole video on that, like film festival films that just try to be edgy. So yeah, this is just kind of like the latest one of that. I don't know if it's good or not. It has got a rating in Australia, so it'll probably come out at some point. I think it's going to be just very underwhelming and not that good or interesting. But it came on my radar, and I heard about it, and I was like, the fuck? Okay, all right. Next film I didn't watch was Shakespeare's Shitstorm. This is a movie by Team Troma. I think his name's Lloyd Kaufman, the guy who did the Toxic Avenger movies. I've seen all 3 Toxic Avenger movies, and I really, really, really like them. So I should watch more Troma movies. Actually, there's a couple on my list. I think Poultrygeist is one of the ones that I want to watch. But yeah, this looks like the latest big Troma movie that's out. I really like the trailer for it, and it's played at like some theaters in the US, but it's just haven't been able to like find it online or been able to watch it anywhere in Australia. So I think it's kind of just US thing for now. So hopefully that comes out at some point. I would very much like to watch that. Yeah, there are definitely more Troma movies that I should watch, because I really, really liked all 3 Toxic Avenger movies, and I know there's like a fuck ton more. It was just because like Toxic Avenger is like the most well-known one, but there is a lot of like Troma movies. A lot of them are probably trash, but there's gonna be some. Poultrygeist is the main one that I remember that I want to watch. Third movie I didn't watch was Calamity Jane. This is a animated French film. I think that's all I know about it. That's about Calamity Jane, or like a rendition of Calamity Jane. Like I think it's a fictional story. This one I just kind of wanted to watch because I like the animation style. It looked interesting and unique. The team that did it did one other movie, or at least one other movie that I know of, called Long Way North. That I haven't watched. I do want to watch it, but it just doesn't look as appealing to me as this one does, Calamity Jane. So I'll probably have to watch Long Way North to kind of just hold myself over until I can find Calamity Jane somewhere. But yeah, it's like a French movie and it like only came out last year, so I haven't been able to find it anywhere. Same as like pretty much all of these movies. Yeah, it's just I think a lot of them were foreign movies, either foreign or they've only been shown at film festivals, which is why I haven't been able to see them yet. And the last movie that I didn't watch this year was Whispering Corridors 6: The Humming. This is a Korean horror film. That's the latest entry into the Whispering Corridors series, which I really, really like. I might make a video on Whispering Corridors films at some point, just ranking them from worst to best. Yeah, it's a pretty influential Korean horror film series that I enjoy. And the last one, Whispering Corridors 5: A Blood Pledge, came out in like I think 2008 or 9. So it's been a long time since the last one. So I'm very keen to see if it's any good or not, or if it's lost its charm. I kind of have a dreaded feeling that it's not going to be that good, but I gotta watch it anyway because it's a Whispering Corridors film. Yeah, so that I think has been released in Korea, but it's just like so niche that I haven't been able to find it online anywhere to stream or watch yet. So hopefully that comes out soon because I really want to watch that one. There are probably other movies that there are other movies that I didn't watch in 2020, but I think those 4 are just ones that might have perhaps been on my top 10 if I had seen them. But I couldn't find them anywhere, so not my fault. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna wait forever to like make a top 10 list. Like I waited a fair while because I wanted to make sure I could watch most of the movies, but like I have no idea when these 4 movies are ever coming out. So I was like, fuck it. As long as I mention them here, that's all that matters. So we're moving on to the worst movie of the year now. The worst movie. And it's gonna go, last year it went to, I believe, The Force Awakens. I think. I gave it a dishonorable mention. But this I'm just like flat out, it's the worst movie of the year. This year it's gonna go to Monster Hunter by Paul W.S. Anderson. This movie fucking sucked. I knew it was gonna be bad going in, because of all of because of like everything, every possible conceivable piece of evidence pointed towards this movie being a piece of shit. But I watched it anyway. I didn't give him money, but I watched it anyway because I just wanted to see. This was like kind of my last straw with Paul W.S. Anderson. I was like, all right, I'll give you one more chance to win me over again, Paul, because I really liked Event Horizon, the movie he did in '95. The Resident Evil movies are a very, I don't even want to say mixed bag, a negative bag. Like I think I've seen them all and I'm kind of a fan, but I think there's only like maybe 2 or 3 of them worth watching if you're not a Resident Evil fan. Like probably watch like the first one and the 5th one. The last one, Final Chapter, had some good ideas, but it was just like the ultimate showcase that he doesn't understand how to make a good movie. So this was like a blank slate for Paul W.S. Anderson. I was like, okay, here you go, you fresh start, you can do whatever you want now. You're not limited by how you fucked up previous films in a franchise like he had done with the Resident Evil ones. And Monster Hunter was just like shit right out of the gate. It was awful. The relationship between Mila Jovovich's character and I think the guy was called Hunter, well, that was the only redeemable part of the film for me. That was the only part I enjoyed, seeing them like kind of communicate without talking. really, like, everything else, like, those are the only two characters in the film. Every other character has no characterization and dies, or has no characterization and just goes throughout the whole movie. Like, there are just, I don't know anyone's name in the movie other than no one. I don't even know what Mila Jovovich's character was called. I just call her Mila Jovovich and Hunter, because I have it written down in the review that I made when I watched it. It's just 90 minutes of, like, a bland trying. I don't even know how to put it into words, dude. What I have written down is characters have no development and take too long to die. So it's like there are characters that are, like, born to be killed off. Like, you know, if you have, like, a survival horror or something, right? There are the characters that get killed off. But he doesn't make any effort into making us care about them. So I don't care when they die, which is, it's fine, but also they take too long to die. So it's like, it's implying that we're supposed to care about them, that it's like, oh, it's this great character that we've had for such a long time, but we don't. It's like the worst of both worlds. Like, at least just, like, if you're gonna give them no characterization, at least kill them off in more exciting ways, or don't take so fucking long to do it. It's just awful. Yeah, a textbook case of no stakes because I don't fucking care. That's what I wrote. I don't have much else to say. Like, you obviously know it's gonna be shit, but, like, man, it was so bad, dude. Yeah, okay. I'm like sick of this already. Okay, we're gonna get on to better movies. That was the worst movie of the year. That's alright. Let's go into some honorable mentions. I think I only have one, actually. Yeah, I only have one honorable mention this year. I think I had another one written down, but it wasn't actually that good, so I was like, you don't get an honorable mention anymore. So the only honorable mention that I have this year is Horse Girl. This was, I think, a Netflix movie. I don't know. It's about this woman who slowly starts descending into having, like, mental health issues and just, like, losing the plot in general and going crazy. It's definitely, I watched this because it was very reminiscent of the 2002 movie called May, which I really liked. That's probably one of my favorite horror movies. I've only seen it once, actually, to be honest, because I'm scared if I watch it again, I'm not going to enjoy it as much as I did the first time. But this movie reminded me of May, and it's very similar in terms of just, like, you know, someone slowly losing their mind, and it's, like, very freaky to watch and uncomfortable. But the problem with this is that the first half is great. It was exactly what I wanted it to be, but the second half just goes, like, way too crazy and off the hook. Like, she just goes, like, to ridiculous levels of insanity, and it goes even beyond insanity, where there starts to be, like, visions and shit. Like, it was just too exaggerated for my liking. I would have liked it if it was just toned down a little bit more, just a little more not so wild and wacky. Like, she's just, like, having visions and shit at the end of the movie, and it's just, like, symbolism when it's like you don't understand what you're doing. Yeah, that's about it. So it's like, for the first half it was really great, but it just kind of fell apart in the second half. So I ended up, I think I only gave it, like, 3 stars. But, like, if the first half of the movie kept on going and, you know, was as good as the first half, if the whole movie was as good as the first half, this very easily, I think, would have made the top 10. It was just, it kind of ruined the movie, the second half, basically, because things just got too out of control, and just not really grounded, not grounded in reality anymore. It felt very unrealistic. So that's why I was like, this is ridiculous. This could never happen. Whereas in May, I was like, fuck, this could probably happen to someone. That's fucking crazy. But yeah, an honorable mention, because they tried for a little bit. Yeah. So let's get into the top 10, but I'm gonna take a little bite of my sweet treat first. This thing's annoying to eat. What the hell? Okay, let's move on with the list now. The actual top 10. I've got timestamps everywhere, so it doesn't matter. Number 10, we have Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movie. So this was just a refreshing comic book movie, I would say, as far as comic book movies go. I don't know, it was just different in a way, I suppose. Like, it's they're not do-gooders exactly. They're not superheroes. So it's kind of interesting to see. Like, it's a lot of just villainous characters throughout this whole film. There's no real heroes or great people. That was kind of nice, I guess. I would have liked more kind of developing relationships, mainly between Harley Quinn and the kid, and also between everyone in the Birds of Prey. I think that's what they're called. That's why the movie's called that. Like, the little ragtag group that Harley Quinn puts together. She's putting together a team. Yeah, they kind of all just like don't like each other, and like it's like buddy cop movie, but like 5 of them, and they all just like kind of don't like each other and get along and don't get along. And then in the last, I don't know, 20 minutes, they're like, all right, we got to work together if we want to win. Yeah, let's do this. And then afterwards, they're like, oh, I guess we're a team now. When it's like they I didn't really feel any connection between them. They're all kind of just there, and they're like, oh, we have to work together. All right. And then after like working together for like 20 minutes, they're like, yeah, we're a team now. Hey, like it feels way too sudden. I would have liked them to connect more over the course of the movie. I think that would have been nice. Margot Robbie's become really good at playing Harley Quinn. She's like very quirky, like Harley Quinn would be, without being too annoying. And at the same time, she's grounded and like realistic enough to feel like an actual human being that's just like, you know, well, like, I don't think she takes it too far, you know. Obviously, like, a certain part of this is just like the scriptwriters, but her character like doesn't feel too ridiculous. Like, she still has weaknesses and flaws and shit, and like, pretty sure like multiple times she has to get saved by other fucking people in this movie. So she's not just like some like, she's crazy, but also like, yeah, she can just kill everyone and do whatever she wants. Like, no, she is like defeatable. So yeah, I think I just like the Harley Quinn character here was done better than probably most renditions, I would say, because there's a lot of kind of crappy renditions of Harley Quinn, but this one's pretty good. Yeah, that's number 10. All right, number 9 on my list is Scoob! ! Exclamation point. I think this is the first big indicator that if Scoob! Is on your top 10 list, this was probably a shit year for movies. I think this might have been only on my top 10 list because I expected it to be so much worse, and it was kind of okay. It was kind of decent. I think the main thing that attracted me to this movie was the character design. I kind of like all the different interpretations. So it's interesting seeing like every artist rendition of the Scooby-Doo characters, and I like this one a lot. I like the way they were designed. What did I even like about this movie? It had a lot of nods to like OG Scooby-Doo and like Hanna-Barbera products as well, or IP, not products specifically, but like what were the other Hanna-Barbera? Speed Racers. I don't think there was any reference to Yogi Bear or the Jetsons. I don't know what. I have it written down that there are some nice homages to Hanna-Barbera IP, but the only one I'm thinking of is Speed Racers. It's been a while since I've seen it. But like homages in like a respectful way, not like making fun of them or anything. It's like, yeah, this is a part of our history. We're only here because of this. I also wrote a lot of pop culture references. In 10 years, no one will understand this movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I can't really think of any examples off the top of my head. apart from, well, there was like the IKEA joke, but I thought that was actually pretty funny. And that's not a pop culture reference. It's probably just like referring to like modern artists and stuff, or like memes. I don't know. If I have any examples, I'll throw them in here.
I'll have a napkin and some hand sanitizer.
Whoa, man! It's Simon Cowell!
And apparently he's been stealing Netflix by using his mother's account.
That is not fair for the rest of us who have to pay for Netflix.
But yeah, this is probably just gonna be like a really dated movie. But from what I remember, I don't have too negative of a. It didn't come off too negatively to me. Like I thought it was alright. Yeah, I think mainly just because it wasn't complete shit. It was kind of good. It was okay. That's why it's on the top 10. That's all it takes to get into the top 10 for 2020. This was the year. If you were like wanted to make it in filmmaking, 2020 was the year, because there was just nothing. There was just shit in 2020. Number 8, we have Possessor. The what's it called? What's the name for this sort of movie? Oh, there isn't really this sort of movie. It's just about someone who has a machine that can like mind control people. So she uses it to assassinate people. And I think it starts fucking with her mind or something. This got like really good reviews, and so I thought it was going to be really, really good. And it kind of is, but the main problem with it for me was that it was just very, very basic and straightforward. There was nothing unexpected really that happened at any point in the movie, and at the end I was just kind of like, oh, that's it. There wasn't anything else or something unexpected or a twist. It was just like, oh, well, yeah, well, that's how I thought it was gonna end. What the fuck? Like, it was very, very predictable the entire time throughout for me. So it was done really well. It looked nice. I don't think I had anything negative to say about the acting. The acting was decent. It was very polished, but it was just in service of something that wasn't that complicated or advanced, you know? Like, it's like a chef, like a world-class chef making like baked beans on toast. It's like, well, yeah, it tastes good, but like, aren't you capable of more than that? Like, this is a very simple dish. You can do something better than this, right? I think that's probably the most apt analogy I have for this movie. It was good. It's definitely worth watching. I think maybe not everything on this list is worth watching. But yeah, it was good. It was just very simple. So I think that's what was the main letdown for me. But yeah, number 8, Possessor. Number 7 is Bill and Ted Face the Music. So this one I liked more than Bogus Journey, but less than the first one, Excellent Adventure. What do I even have to say about this one? I think probably the highlight for me was the robot character. I can't remember his name, but he was like a new addition, because there's a lot of like characters that we already know that are in this movie. He was one of the new ones. And I thought he was really fucking funny. I think like 80% of the time he was on the screen, I was laughing at some joke that they'd written for him.
Okay, we get it. You're a grateful, totally insecure, somehow dead robot named Dennis Caleb McCoy. Dia!
Billy! How are we gonna find them, dude?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I don't even know, dude.
Yeah, he was really well done and a great like new addition as a new character. That was fun to watch. And what else do I have written down? I wrote the Kid Cudi cameo was hilariously memeable. Kid Cudi shows up at some point, and I can't remember exactly, but it felt, to me, it honestly felt just like Bill and Ted were just like, whoa, it's Kid Cudi.
Whoa, Kid Cudi!
It just became like a meme to me with some of my friends, where it's just like Kid Cudi would just show up in some random movie. It was like, hey guys, it's me, Kid Cudi. Where he's just like, he's he's popular enough that you know him, but also like it's like not that big of a deal. And it was just showing us as like just purely on the name value of like, oh, you know, this guy, we have this guy, it's me, Kid Cudi. So he shows up and he like helps Bill and Ted do some musical shit. I don't know. I'm not shitting on Kid Cudi at all. Like if I was Kid Cudi, I 100%, a million % would have taken this job for sure. It would have been awesome to be in a Bill and Ted movie. It's just funny the way his character was written in there, because it's just him, and it's just him being there. That's the cool part. It's cool that Kid Cudi is here. That's the big draw of the movie. I don't have too much else to say. I think it's like logic probably goes out the window, but not as much as Bogus Journey. Because that's the reason why I didn't like Bogus Journey that much. It's just like, well, they've all thrown logic out the window, but Bogus Journey just way more so than the other two. With the other two, it's kind of in service of stuff, so they can get away with it. With Bogus Journey, it just got to the point where it was like irritating me, where I was like, okay, this is so dumb. This is ridiculous. Like, come on. You have to have some, like, just pull back a little bit. So Face the Music was probably more unrealistic than Excellent Adventure was. Unrealistic's a bad word because then none of them are realistic, but like a bit more ridiculous than Excellent Adventure was, but just not as ridiculous as Bogus Journey. So yeah, it's definitely worth watching if you're a Bill and Ted fan. If you like those, you'll like the third one. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about Bill and Ted. Number 6, we have The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss. So this is just like a modern retelling of The Invisible Man, you know, the man who goes invisible. This was a good modern retelling. I think this is the first Invisible Man movie I've ever seen, actually. There are none other that come to mind. But this was really well done in that it had enough original stuff going on that there were like twists and turns I didn't expect. That's what I'm trying to say. There's like a lot of the stuff that you would expect that it's like you've heard before from an Invisible Man story, but there's also some new twists and things that I didn't expect that kept me interested and intrigued because I didn't know where I was going to go next. That was good. I just wrote most of the movie is fairly predictable because we already know the Invisible Man story, but there are enough twists to keep it interesting and worth the remake. It was worth remaking or redoing, whatever you want to call it, reboot, who the fuck. Elizabeth Moss is great as always. She's one of my favorite, maybe my favorite actress, or actor. She's pretty much the only reason I even heard about this movie or bothered to watch in the first place. She does a good job with it. I liked it. It was kind of spooky at times, even. Like it's kind of like a horror thriller almost. Really, it's even like it's kind of because it's like she's not losing her mind, but everyone perceives her to be losing her mind. So I like that idea, where it's like, no, I'm not fucking crazy. There is an invisible guy. You gotta believe me. And they're like, oh, you're wacky. Oh, what the go? So that was, I think that's something I like about it. That it's like, it's the opposite of Horse Girl, where it's like she's going insane and and everyone thinks she's going insane, but she doesn't realize it. In this one, they think she's going insane, but she's not. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I have anything else to say about this movie. Yeah, it's worth watching. It's good. It's interesting, and it has enough going on to make it worth the revisit, whatever you want to fucking call it. Number 5 is An American Pickle with Seth Rogen. This was... I wrote this is my favorite Seth Rogen movie ever. Well, my favorite movie was Seth Rogen in it. I don't think Seth Rogen should ever write or produce or have any creative control over movies. He should just be an actor, because I think he had some control over this, but I was like limited. It's just so nice when Seth Rogen's in a movie and he's not also writing or directing or producing it, because it's like then we don't have to deal with all this Seth Rogen's like shit comedy. This was it's kind of a comedy. It's like a half comedy, half drama. Like a, I don't know. There needs to be a name for that sort of movie where it's like oh, but there's also sad. That sort of movie. You know exactly what I'm talking about by that description. Don't try and act like you don't know exactly what I meant by that. Good premise and fun idea. So the premise, for if anyone doesn't know, it's this guy in 1900s, or what's the country? Romania, Slovenia, somewhere. Some like very poor, destitute European country. He works at a pickle factory, and he falls into a pickle vat, and he's perfectly preserved for 100 years. And so he comes out 100 years later, and he hasn't aged a day. So it's like obviously ridiculous on its face, but it's done in a way where it's like, this is just accept it. Like this, it's not. It's actually pretty good at getting away with it, because it's like it's the only ridiculous, obviously broken thing that happens in the movie, but it's just like what they're trying to do, right? It's just a guy who came forward in time and he's in the future now, and things have changed, and this is our method of doing it. I like it. It's better than just like fucking Time Machine or Frozen in a block. He becomes a pickle. That's good. I like that. I like that he's a pickle. So he comes out 100 years later, hasn't aged a day. He meets his grandson. And so it's just like a lot of like generational disconnect, where it's like, oh, what's this? iPhone. Oh, I don't. Where's the I in the phone? Do you? And then the son's like, I don't know what pickles are. I'm trying to make a cool app. So yeah, just like the generational gap between the two, and them trying to get along. And there's a lot of like, not necessarily rivalry, but like conflict between the two. Like they start to like not get along with each other, and they're both trying to become successful in this world. The kid is trying to become successful by making this app that he's been working on for the past few years, and the grandfather, I shouldn't call him grandfather, because he's still like the exact same age as the son. The pickle man, let's call him pickle man. The pickle man becomes successful by selling pickles in the 21st century. He starts his own business and sells a lot of pickles. So there's like a lot of sabotage back and forth between like the son trying to ruin the pickle man's business and the pickle man trying to ruin the son's app. And so then from that, they learn and bond and forgive one another and accept. So yeah, it's very nice, uplifting, happy movie, where they learn, each other's flaws and shit, and they eventually like come together. And obviously it's kind of apparent from like that eventually they make an online pickle business where they both play to each other's strengths, where the kid is good at technology and the pickle man's good at selling the pickles. The problem with this movie, though, the major flaw is that it was too rushed. It's very fast, and it doesn't really let you just sit and enjoy a scene. It just like whoa, 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 just goes on to the next thing. Like there'll be lots of like great moments in like the pickle man sabotaging the kid, or the kid sabotaging the pickle man. And it's like, oh, that's fucking brilliant. He got him. And it just needed to kind of sit and let us enjoy those moments a little bit longer. It just moves on from them too fast. Like, there are really, really good ideas, but it just doesn't get the full potential out of all of them. So yeah, it's because it's only like 90 minutes. So it's, if you just add like a little bit more, maybe like 20 minutes, just space it out a little bit, let it breathe, just so we can enjoy those moments a bit more. So I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to see more of that. I kind of wanted to sit in this scene a bit more, but it just kept on going. So that was the major letdown for me. But apart from that, this movie is pretty good, kind of nice and heartfelt, very emotional, not enough to like super move you, but enough that's like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. They made up and at the end, so that was good. So that was number 5, An American Pickle. Number 4, we have Run, Hide, Fight. The fucking pencil sharpener movie. So this is about a kid in a school shooting that fights back. She runs, hides, and fights, and she gets them, and she wins. Tense and exciting thriller is what I wrote. One thing that they did with this movie that didn't work, they kept trying to do this thing where the protagonist's mother died of cancer, and so like as she's going through this school shooting situation, her mother shows up as like a vision and like kind of gives her daughter guidance and stuff, and like, you know, like gives them a free chance to just like have the protagonist talk to herself, but like talking to her mother, and it just didn't kind of work. Like I wasn't moved or like felt emotional by any of the scenes, because like what's even weirder is that it's like when she first has the vision of her mother, it's not like she's going crazy, she's just like imagining her mother there and like talking to her. It's not like a ghost or an apparition or anything like that. At the start, it's like she has the full like cancer appearance, like she has the what do you call it, hospital gown, and like the bandana on her head. But as she like goes on through the movie and the protagonist like overcomes challenges and stuff, the mother like reverts to her pre-cancer stage. Like she has all her hair back and she like starts wearing like a dress. And so it's like trying, it felt like I was trying really, really hard to be like, oh my god, it's so sad. And it's like, oh, but it's so happy that it's like she's connecting with her mother. But like, I don't know, the way it was written, I just didn't care that much. It wasn't as emotionally impacting as they either thought it was or they were trying to make it. It just wasn't that like, I was like, okay, just move on with it. Just didn't feel that well written. Like it didn't move me at all. What else do I have? The violence felt a little fake. Not that bad though. I think just maybe a couple moments here and there. It wasn't anything detrimental. The other major problem that I had was the ending. The ending, she beats the school shooters. Like all of them are dead, except for one, the ringleader. He runs out of the school and briefly manages to escape, and the ending is just her, like all the police and hospital people are there and stuff, and she's you know that scene in the movie at the end where it's like they have the blanket wrapped over themselves and they're sitting in the back of the hospital truck. You've seen this scene 5 billion fucking times where it's like, you know, oh, I did it, I survived. And then she just gets up and goes, because no one knows that the school shooter, the ringleader, escaped. No one knows except for her, I think. So yeah, she just gets up and walks off, grabs her father's gun, and like the kid's like just bleeding out on a, because she'd tagged him already. she like shot him or something at some point already, so he was like kind of bleeding out on the on just like a rock in a river, by a river side. And so the ending is she just like takes a gun and just like fucking kills him, like blows his fucking head off. Yeah, I don't know. It it just felt like overkill. Like, you could have done it in a way, like if he was trying to fight back or something, or he was still in the school and he was like about to shoot someone or kill someone maybe. But yeah, it did it because it did it in a way that we're meant to like feel like, yes, justice. But it's just like, at that point, like, he's completely defeated. Like, he poses no threat and he's just like bleeding out on a fucking rock. And she just goes on this, because at some point earlier in the movie, at the start, I think, her father's like explaining to her, during like hunting, when they're hunting deer, he's like, you know, oh, sometimes if you like make a poor shot and the deer's been hurt, the more oh, actually, wait. Okay, hang on, wait. So the father explains to her that, like, okay, sometimes if like the deer's been shot and it's like still alive but bleeding, the more humane thing to do is to put it out of its misery rather than let it bleed out, because it's only going to suffer more that way. But I think she actually doesn't shoot the guy, which isn't that bad then. I don't know, but it's still kind of bad. Let me Google this actually, because I can't remember. I'm just run, hide, fight. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, sorry. I got this completely wrong. So, keeping that deer scene in mind, where it's like the humane thing to do is to shoot them and put them out of their misery. So the kid's bleeding out on a rock. And she like repeats what her father told her to him. She's like, you know, sometimes when creatures are bleeding, they gotta be put out of their misery. And it looks like she's about to kill him, but then she doesn't. And she's like, well, the Wikipedia says, Zoe lets Tristan bleed out, telling him that that's what he deserves for what he's done. I can't decide if that's better or worse than her just shooting him. But I don't know, it just felt a little off. Like, the way I'm describing it, it doesn't sound that bad, but just on watching the movie, it just felt a little off, where I was like, this isn't the most justice-y delivered scene ever. This feels like, a little weird. Yeah, I think that was the only thing. Because it just felt like very cruel. Like, obviously, it's like, you know, he's the villain and he has to get his comeuppance. But just the way they went about writing that, it just felt a little weird. I don't know, like, very sadistic. But yeah, I think every apart from that, it was pretty good, intense thriller. You know, it's exciting, just seeing what happens next and the characters and shit, and it was good. I thought it was pretty good. People gave it mixed reviews. Some people didn't like it, but I thought it was good. Number 3 is The Lovebirds. This was, I think this was the only comedy on the list this year. This had Kumail Nanjiani in it. The dude's becoming one of my favorite comedy actors. He's so fucking funny in everything I've seen him in. I really, really hope he keeps being in more movies, because this one I loved. I think Stuber was last year or maybe the year before. I love that one as well. So keep it up, Kumail. Keep making movies, buddy. You're doing a good job. So on the surface, this looks like a shitty Netflix comedy, and it kind of is, but it's also pretty good. That's what I wrote on my page. Apart from, so there's a lot of good jokes that like genuinely made me laugh, but also apart from that, the thing that elevated it to why it's number 3 on my list is the characters. Kumail Nanjiani and the girl is Issa something. I can't remember her last name. But they both have really charismatic performances, and the story is genuinely compelling as well. The premise is that these two people, they're like in love and stuff, but after being together for a while, they've fallen out of love, and they like have this huge argument in a car while they're driving, and they're like it's like the tipping point for them, and they're like, I can't do this anymore, like we have to break up, like this is the end. And just as that happens, some guy takes control of their car, claims he's a police officer, and he like runs over a guy and kills him. So basically they get framed for murder. So they're like on the run from the authorities and like trying to get their innocence, and they're trying to find out who did this and why. And along the way, they realize that they actually do love each other, and it's like they kind of realize why they fell in love with each other in the first place, and like the great qualities about one another that they weren't properly seeing before. And so by the end of the movie, they're back together and they're in love again, and it's very nice, and it's very happy. What else did I write about this? So I like the concept is good, funny jokes good, and also good performances. So good performances, good story, good jokes. 3 good things about this movie. The big negative, the main criticism I have about this movie is that it suffers from the 24/7 ad-lib curse, where it's like they're just like talking and talking and talking every scene. Like you go to like there's like it's what's the word, improvising. Like no, I don't think every scene is improvised, but like so much of the dialogue it just is like improvised just shit. But the actors are good, so like half of the stuff is like actually funny. So I didn't mind it that much because there were good jokes. It wasn't enough to irritate me, but it does have that, like they're always just talking, like, oh my god, I gotta say this and I gotta keep talking and I can't let there be any dead air and I gotta keep talking and talking and talking. Blah, 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 blah. Isn't this funny? Isn't this really funny? Like that, but in a way that it was nowhere near as bad as most other movies. So to the point where it didn't really irritate me. It was just the lowest, the weakest part of the film for me. But apart from that, this was really good. This is absolutely worth watching. Very funny movie. Hope Kumail Nanjiani makes more movies, because that guy is really fucking funny. I love him, dude. He's so fucking funny. Oh man. Okay. He's definitely on my radar. I'm gonna have to see what other movies he makes. He's in the future, because I really liked this and I really liked Stuber. So that was number 3, The Lovebirds. And number 2 is Underwater. God, 2020. What a year. What a year. Underwater was the horror film starring Kristen Stewart. It's basically Alien, but underwater, where there's spooky creatures and there's a cast of characters that all die over the course of the movie. So it doesn't get any points for originality, but it was executed really, really well. It was scary, it was tense and thrilling and exciting, and there were... I was gonna say there are twists and turns. I don't think there's that many twists and turns. I don't think it's the most unpredictable movie ever. I don't think it was predictable enough to the point where it got boring, but I don't think it's the most like plot twisty movie ever. It's fairly straightforward. I think the main suspense comes from you don't know who's going to die or when. Like there might be a scene where there's a threat, but then someone doesn't die, or there's a scene where there isn't any apparent threat, but then someone does die. So it kind of keeps you on your toes of like, it's very stressful, which is I like. I love being just fucking stressed out from a movie. I'm not joking. Where you don't know when someone's gonna die next. So that was nice. I like that about it. I wrote a genuinely well done and scary alien type film. The main negative about this easily is T.J. Miller. He sticks out like a sore thumb in this fucking film because it's a completely serious horror film that just has a comedy relief character. For some reason, I don't know, probably a producer or a director or a scriptwriter just thought they were trying to get a wider audience reach, but it's just such a fucking sore thumb in this movie that T.J. Miller is in it. I don't have anything against him. I think he's pretty funny. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what stuff he's done. He's been in Deadpool and this. But yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about TJ Miller. they just made a completely horrendous choice by putting a character like him into this movie because it doesn't fit at all. Yeah, it's a comedy character in a horror film. It was just didn't match at all, and it's just weird. Where it's like everyone's having this serious conversation, like, oh my god, how are we gonna live? How are we gonna? We need to get out of here. We need to do this. Like, focus. And then TJ Miller's like, hey guys, I'm putting on SpongeBob. I'm not even joking. I'm gonna put this out. There's a scene where it's like he's like playing the SpongeBob theme or something. I'm pretty sure it's SpongeBob music.
The suits can't be down there that long, you know that. Not everyone here is an experienced diver, and
that we never know.
I'm not trying to be. Can you just admit we might die doing that?
Yeah. But can you admit that we might live doing this?
What? We're gonna do this. Let's do it. All right. All right, we can talk. Brian's like to turn it down.
Yeah, and it's just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, come on. Scriptwriter like didn't scratch his head when he was writing that. Like, what the? But once he's dead, you know, he's out of the way, so we just get back to the horror, which is nice. The ending is a little abrupt, where it's like, oh, it's over. Maybe that could have been done a bit more slowly. And something good about it is it takes a lot of time to, like the opposite of fucking Monster Hunter, it takes time to actually humanize the characters, so when or if they are killed off, we actually do care about them, and we're like, oh my god, fuck, I liked that guy, why did he die, fuck. So yeah, we actually I know it's a crazy concept, but like, you actually care about the characters. That was nice for a change. I think that's about all I have to say. Yeah. And surprisingly good dialogue. Yeah. So it's not original, but it's just really, really well executed, and it's tense and exciting to watch. So I recommend it highly if you like these sorts of films, because it's spooky and scary, and yeah. That's number 2, Underwater. So we come to number 1. Our number 1 movie of 2020 is Becky. The movie with a kid actor whose name I don't know, and Kevin James as a neo-Nazi. 2020, number 1. So this was I'll explain the premise. It's a kind of a revenge movie, I suppose, where Becky, the main protagonist, is a girl, and her mother died a couple of years ago, and her father starts seeing someone new, and Becky doesn't like that. You know, she obviously misses her mother, and doesn't like that her father is moving on with his life and finding someone new. So the father, as an attempt to get everyone to get along together, they go on a trip to some fucking holiday house, I don't know. And basically some neo-Nazis come knocking, and they're looking for something that's nearby the house. They take everyone hostage except for Becky, who happens to be out at the time, and Becky takes it upon herself to hunt down the neo-Nazis and get them and save her father, and coincidentally also save the woman that the father's dating, and also the woman has a daughter. Or a son. I think a daughter. Like a little toddler kid. So yeah, and Becky is about, I think she's 12 or 13. So about that age. So it's like a kind of little-ish kid, you know, hunting down these Nazis and killing them and just saving her father. So that's what it's about. The twist is, I wrote, cool concept for a revenge movie. executed in a way I haven't seen before. What I liked about this movie is, from what I've described so far, it sounds like, okay, right, so she gets revenge. But the thing is, Becky kind of takes it too far. Like, it goes beyond revenge, and Becky just, like, it's even further than, it just takes it way beyond what Run, Hide, Fight did with its ending, and it's just, like, Becky becomes, like, sadistic and, like, overkills at every possible opportunity, to the point where it's like she's a deranged kid. It sounds kind of hard to believe because it's like they're like neo-Nazis, so it's like they're like villainous villains, you know. But basically they're all kind of idiots that are being manipulated by the main neo-Nazi ringleader, which is Kevin James. He's kind of just like manipulated these 3 buffoon idiot dudes into just following and doing whatever Kevin James says. So they're kind of bumbling and they don't know what they're doing. I'm not saying that they're like heroes, like they're still villains, but they're not like completely competent. They're oafs, you know? They're just like the what do you call them? The grunts. Yeah, like they're hired. No, they're not hired. They're just stupid idiots that are like also neo-Nazis. So yeah, it's kind of just Becky like tricking these people and killing them in extremely like horrific, gruesome, gory ways. And yeah, even at the end, she just takes it like just way too far. And there is one of them, like this massive fucking dude, who is about to kill, not is about to, but is like going to kill Becky, but he kind of starts realizing that Kevin James is manipulating him and he's made mistakes in his life and he shouldn't, kill Becky. He realizes that Becky's doing the right thing. She's trying to save her father, and he realizes that, oh fuck, I'm the bad guy. I'm doing something bad here. I've fucked up in my life. So he helps Becky, and I think without him, Becky wouldn't have been able to kill Kevin James. So yeah, with his help, Becky is able to kill Kevin James and get revenge on him. So the guy is like, I'm sorry for what I've done. Like I know my actions aren't redeemable, but maybe by saving you. And she just like puts a bullet in his fucking head mid-sentence as he's saying that. So it's like the one guy where it's like, you think it's like he's not that bad and he's like going to be redeemed at the end. And it's like if it was a standard movie, it'd be like he goes to prison or something for like a long time. But it's like, like he realized the error of his ways, and he helped save Becky, and he still goes to like prison, but he did the right thing and he didn't get killed. But no, in this movie, it's like he's like hoping for redemption, and Becky just shoots him in the fucking head and blows his brains out with no remorse and zero hesitation. It's fucking wild. So yeah, I just like that take on it, where it's like it's pushing you to the point where you're like, oh, poor neo-Nazis. It's that's what I think. That's what I liked about it, is that it's like it just goes beyond. It's just like fucking insane revenge to the point where it's like, whoa, Becky, you're fucking crazy. So I wrote Becky goes beyond revenge and becomes a murderous killing machine. That's a really lame way to put it, but basically that's what happens. So on the surface, Kevin James playing a neo-Nazi sounds like a massive red flag. That sounds like, oh, what the fuck is it? This movie is gonna be shit. What the fuck? But no, he actually plays the role pretty well. Like, he can kind of do serious roles fairly well. It's just that, like, you've seen him only in comedy stuff before, so it's very easy to be distracted. But he does a good enough job here that it didn't really distract me that much. Like, I was able to believe that Kevin James is a neo-Nazi, because, like, I don't know, he has the good appearance for it. He has like a shaved head in this, and he's got like a big bushy beard, and like Nazi tattoos and shit. So yeah, he looked like a believable neo-Nazi. I wasn't like, why is Kevin James trying to be a neo-Nazi? I was like, oh shit, Kevin James is a neo-Nazi in this movie. Like, you don't even think of him that much as Kevin James. Just like, this is a neo-Nazi. So yeah, he plays it pretty well. It's not something that really distracted me at all, or took me out of the film. He plays the part well enough. Not fantastically, but well enough. He does a decent job. The main actress as well, who plays Becky, is surprisingly good. Well above average as far as kid actor goes, because it's kind of a difficult role to play in terms of like, she's just like prime animalistic fucking like rage and murder and just kill things and just raw energy. And she plays it really well. She does a good job, and it's very believable. Where I was like, oh my god, this kid is fucking insane. This kid is nuts. And damn, me talking about this makes me want to watch it again. It was really good. It was just a cool, interesting, unique take. Super tense and thrilling, which I've written for like the past, or like every single movie in the top 4. I don't know if I have anything else to say about it. But yeah, I just really liked it. It was something you've seen before, done in an original, unique way with a cool twist that was refreshing, and I liked it. And yeah, I'm happy that it's my number 1 movie for this year. I think it's pretty good. Becky, go watch Becky. Becky's a good movie. Oh, there's the top 10 for 2020. So 2020 wasn't that good. It was kind of a shitty year for movies. I'm hoping 2021 will be better. So far, it's not chalking up to be that way. 2021 is probably going to be just as bad as 2020 for movies. There's obviously always good movies out there. If you look, there are just less of them. Because of coronavirus, it's kind of fucked things up with the scheduling and filming right now. So yeah, this year is 2021. 2021 and 2020 probably going to be a bit impacted by film in terms of like the number of films and the quality of films. But you just gotta roll with the punches, you know? Yeah. I won't really go into anything about 2021 this year, because I'm just gonna fucking save that for next year. I could talk for a long time about 2021. But yeah, that was 2020. At least the top 5 movies I would say are all well worth watching. I would say don't bother watching Birds of Prey or Scoob or Possessor or Bill and Ted if you don't like Bill and Ted. But do watch The Invisible Man. Number 6 and up, I absolutely recommend. But everything after that, honestly, you could give it a miss and you were not missing out on that much. It's just that they were like, okay. I think I watched maybe about 24 movies in 2020. So there was a lot of crap that I had to sift through, and it's like you could tell even at like number 10 and 9 and 8, even those weren't like that good. But yeah, anyway, enough fucking moping about 2020. It's in the past. We gotta put it behind us. We're moving on to a new year of shit movies. Woo! Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I have plans to make other video. I say that every time. You'll see me in like 3 to 6 months.